Christine is the Director of Operations at Moy Teaching and Referral Hospital. She was the inaugural leader of Moy University's Research and Sponsored Programs Office and holds an MBA and Masters of Science in Research Administration and Management. She is a beloved friend of many in the Ampath family. Her story is titled, Rising Together, My Path of Growth with Ampath. Welcome, Christine.
Good evening, everyone. Christine Tonui. Many of you know me as Chwani, Director at Health Administration at Moy Teaching and Referral Hospital. So my story today is Rising Together, my path of growth in Ampath, and I'll speak to the many relationships and how Ampath has helped me over the years to be where I am. And I'll start by saying that there are two significant turning points in my life where I interacted with Ampath. The first was when I was a fourth-year student, and my colleague Kira and I were identified as the first public health students through, of course, academic performance. I'm not bragging, but I was the best girl. Then, and we were nominated to go to Linköping University, and we joined the medical students who had been coming to IU over many years, and that's when I met Sarah Ellen Mamlin. She took me through the journey of going through my first international trip with Professor Mening, you know, what to expect, how to make sure that we maximize our time at Linköping University and make sure that we create a good example to ensure other public health students go. So it was, thank you, Sarah Ellen. And then, in 2003, after being hired by MTRH, John Seidel and Doug Schaefer, who took me through being a human subjects administrator so that I was fit for purpose, together with Robert Rono, and recommended for Robert Rono and I to start up the Research and Sponsored Projects Office. And that's when they went and told the bigwigs then, that was Professor Mamlin, Professor Tsula, Mengech, that these two young Turks, I think, can do this job, so let's take a chance on them. And of course, the bigwigs in this other side of the ocean, Bob Baintias and Bob Biltiani, said, okay, let's give them a try, and we were told to start up the Research and Sponsored Projects Office. So those years were hard, I wouldn't cheat you. It was, as a public health student, I've not done a lot of administration, but they were so patient with us. And they took us through the journey of what does project management entail? How do you manage all these monies that are going to be coming your way? Simple things like doing invoices. And I remember Prof used to give us chocolates when he saw we were understanding the project management lingo. He would give us chocolates and say, you know, good job, let's keep going. And we didn't let him down. And that training investment also entailed so many people who changed our lives. And Akina Tom Betley, Professor Tsula, Dunia, who incidentally was my mentor, and now she's my mentee, you know, so it was so interesting. And I just want to say, may God bless you, all of you, for trusting my 20-year-old something self then. Don't start calculating how old I am now. With such a huge assignment. And maybe if I'd known then what it would entail, I'm not very sure I would have taken the job, but we did. And after that, RSPO grew. Of course, leadership changed, but what was so great about it is that our leadership kept putting in policies, because, you know, I mean, we had not done it before, but they kept putting policies in place that would help us make sure that the projects grow. We started just from a project that was $50,000, and now they're managing millions and millions of dollars. And through that process, we had the likes of Prof. Kimayo, Nyandiko, Kara, who has just spoken, Ayuo, Akina Mamlin, who never left our side and kept pushing us up and telling us, okay, you know, these are the audits, this is how it's supposed to go. They kept teaching us and letting us, holding our hands. And we were able to see a shift. Many of the speakers who have spoken before me have talked about the HIV program, but even for us in RSPO, we're able to see things change. Akina Sonak came in with Padu. We saw the informatics program grow. There was so much. The cardiology program also grew. And in the process, we met other 20-year-olds, Akina Adrian, Laura, Jerry, Akina Sona, Kwadea, Naomi Lundman, so many relationships that we built, and even Akina Sean Woodins and Morris, quite a number of people who we built relationships and helped me grow. I take this opportunity to really appreciate like Brown University that took us as Fogarty Fellows to do our Masters in Research Administration. And at that point in time, as we're growing, it was a period in my life where I wrote my first grant. I remember Bill Tiani taking me through it, and when we got the grant, he said, now the hard work begins, Christine. This is it. So it was quite some, and through it all, what I really appreciate is that as RSPO grew, we not only built these relationships, but there was a lot of integrity and trust. Even where people made mistakes, they were able to come up and we would correct each other and move forward together as a family. There was no man left behind. It was almost like an army, and we marched on and made sure that we grew. And this growth also, I grew, and these relationships were so good that even as people's families grew, we bonded, as we became now, we stopped partying and now became serious parents. We grew in terms of how our families were growing. Don't ask me how many children I have, but there are many. But it was a beautiful journey. And through it, I think that the lessons that I learned in Ampath is what helped me get my current job today, where I was competitively hired to be the Director of Health Administration at MTRH. And I see the lessons I learned then being applied in my job now. Of course, now I have a new people who are molding me, of course, from the CEO, Prof. Kirwa, my immediate boss, Dr. Tarus, who is an FSC now, who has helped me also get my certifications in governance, and the entire hospital management team of MTRH. But we continue to work together with Ampath and rising together, doing a lot of operational research, and seeing the lessons that I learned in Ampath have helped me currently in my current job, especially making sure that we support each other and don't leave anybody behind, because that's the chance these guys give me, and it's important for us to give it back. So Ampath, of course, seeing how it has grown and helped us at MTRH, it is my prayer that as much as we've grown our infrastructure, as our CEO said, we've grown in terms of human resource and training, clinical specializations, research and all, that let's not stop there. These relationships, I believe now is the time to explore the new frontiers. 2 minutes, Bana. I wasted seconds. Stop laughing, stop laughing. I believe this is the time that we can move forward better, as we're moving into Ampath Global. Women in leadership is there. The CHAR team is there to support us. What are we doing to support these young Turks, make sure that 20 years from now, they'll be standing here and giving their story in terms of how we help them walk. I look at like the Mwangaza program led by Tal and Betsy, and how it has supported medical students. Some of them who have benefited are here today, and this relationship that you've built with Ampath, don't let it die, pass it on. We are where we are because somebody trusted in me when I was so young, and I hope that we'll continue to build and grow together and make Kenya great, make Ghana great, make Nepal great, but more so, make sure that we don't go back to that picture of Sonak. Yes? And keep coming up with new innovations, new frontiers that will make us better. So thank you very much. I don't know whether to give other greetings like the Luyas, but I want to say hi to the people in Kenya. Thank you.